I'll never forget that night in Kowloon. The whole thing started over a bowl of wonton noodles, if you can believe it. Stephen Chow was holding court at his usual table, cracking jokes about serious kung fu masters, when someone mentioned Ip Man was eating 2 tables away. Dead silence. Then Chow, being Chow, walks over and asks the master if he's ever tried comedy timing in combat. What happened next? Pure madness. The warehouse fight got arranged through whispers and handshakes. No cameras, no official record. Just raw anticipation crackling through that cramped space like electricity before a typhoon. When those two stepped onto that makeshift ring, I swear the temperature dropped 10 degrees. Ip Man looked exactly like you'd expect. Calm as morning tea, every movement deliberate. His hands never fidgeted. His breathing stayed steady. 52 years old, but moving like time hadn't touched him. That centerline stance of his was rock solid, foundation laid by decades of Wing Chun discipline. The man was surgical precision wrapped in human form. I'd watched him demolish opponents with those chain punches. Boom, 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 so fast your eyes couldn't track them. His trapping game was legendary. Get close enough and he'd stick to you like glue, redirecting your force while delivering punishment you never saw coming. Chi Sao mastery at its finest. But here's what worried me about the old master that night. Predictability. Beautiful, deadly predictability. Every technique flowed from textbook theory. Against conventional fighters, this was devastating. Against Stephen Chow?
Chow bounced around like a hyperactive kid waiting for recess, 33 years old and looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. That goofy grin never left his face, even when staring down Hong Kong's most feared martial artist. The crowd didn't know what to make of him. Half were laughing, half were confused. See, most people missed Chow's real genius. They saw the comedy, the slapstick, the complete disregard for traditional form. What they didn't see was the method buried beneath all that madness. Years of studying under genuine masters filtered through his twisted sense of humor. Drunken boxing mixed with monkey style, seasoned with pure creative chaos. His psychological warfare started immediately, making faces, doing little dances, pretending to be scared. But watch his feet, always in perfect position. Watch his hands, never truly relaxed even during the goofiest moments. The man was a loaded spring disguised as a circus act. Then the real show began. First contact told the whole story. Ip Man stepped forward with that classic Wing Chun advance, lead hand seeking centerline control. Textbook beautiful. Chow's response looked like pure panic, stumbling backward, arms flailing like he was swatting invisible flies. The crowd erupted in laughter. Then the stumble became a duck, the flailing became deflection, and suddenly there was an uppercut screaming toward Ip Man's chin that materialized from absolute nowhere. The master's eyes went wide. First time all night his expression changed. Round 2 brought the full Chow experience. He started hopping on one foot, making these ridiculous chicken noises that had half the warehouse in stitches. Even I was fighting back grins until I noticed something. Ip Man wasn't laughing. He was backing up, guard higher than I'd ever seen it. Smart move, because Chow's chicken dance exploded into violence without warning. That hopping foot became a devastating low kick. The silly arm movements turned into a spinning back fist that tagged Ip Man's ribs with a sound like a baseball bat hitting leather. But you don't become a grandmaster by getting rattled. Ip Man's decades of sensitivity training kicked in hard. He stopped watching Chow's theatrical movements and started feeling for the real attacks hidden underneath. That legendary Chi Sao sense, reading intention through the smallest contact, the subtlest shift in weight. When Chow committed to his next combination, Ip Man was ready. Palm strike to the chest, picture-perfect technique, sending the comedian sliding backward across those bamboo planks like he was on ice. The crowd went absolutely insane. Fourth round changed everything.
Chow pulled out actual props, rubber chicken, fake mustache, even a little mirror. Pure vaudeville in a fight ring. People were crying from laughter, but something felt different. Ip Man's stance had shifted, become more fluid, more adaptive. The explosion came without warning. Chow reached for another prop and Ip Man unleashed hell. Chain punches in a blur, 3 strikes that should have ended any normal fight. But Chow's reaction was pure genius. He fell backward like he'd been shot out of a cannon, legs coming up in this perfect bicycle kick that caught Ip Man square in the chest. Both men hit the deck. The warehouse went dead quiet. They got up together, all pretense gone. Chow's goofy mask had slipped, revealing the serious martial artist underneath. Ip Man's classical rigidity had melted into something more flexible, more alive. The final exchange was pure artistry. Chow abandoned his comedy routine entirely, techniques flowing with lethal precision. But Ip Man had solved the puzzle. He'd learned to read the real attacks hidden within the theatrical chaos, to anticipate the genuine strikes camouflaged by all that misdirection. The end came like lightning. Chow attempted his masterpiece, a series of seemingly disconnected movements that would culminate in a devastating finishing combination. But Ip Man stepped into the center line at exactly the right moment, his palm finding Chow's solar plexus with surgical precision. Stephen Chow dropped to one knee, that famous grin returning even as he gasped for air. Ip Man had won by evolving, by proving that true mastery means adaptation, not rigid adherence to form. As both men bowed to each other, everyone in that warehouse knew they'd witnessed something extraordinary, a meeting of minds that transcended style, tradition, and expectation. The applause lasted until dawn broke over Hong Kong.
Walking out of that warehouse, I couldn't shake what I'd witnessed. This wasn't just about who was the better fighter. Chow had forced Ip Man to rediscover his own art, to find flexibility within discipline. Meanwhile, the comedian had proven his craft went far deeper than anyone imagined, that laughter and violence could dance together in ways that defied every martial arts manual ever written. Years later, I'd watch Chow's movies differently, catching glimpses of that night in his physical comedy. Every pratfall carried echoes of genuine technique. Every silly gesture hid real martial knowledge. And Ip Man? Word spread quietly through the underground circuit that the grandmaster had started incorporating unconventional training methods, encouraging his students to think beyond rigid forms. That's the real victory nobody talks about. How 2 masters pushed each other past their limits, creating something entirely new in the process.